Good morning. The Kathy Gray Avatar is back with your Sunday morning announcements. If you're with us on Facebook or YouTube, please subscribe to get notifications when we have new videos. If you're with us on Zoom, drop us a hi in the chat. We'd love to say hello back. If you're with us in person, hello everybody here. And if this is your first visit, go ahead and sign the guest book either in the lobby or online at oakcliffuu.org/guest. Today, Sarah Ricke returns to the pulpit with Lammas, Nourishment for the Spirit. What is it we do to nourish our souls? What feeds us on our spiritual journey? Stay tuned. Now to a very serious topic. Many of you have heard about the firebomb attack on Community Unitarian Universalist Church of Plano that happened early last Sunday. Damage was limited by the quick action of Plano's first responders, and no one was injured. This follows the intrusion of several members of a hate group during a worship service back in June. Today, here, following our service, instead of the usual talkback and adult religious education, we'll have a community conversation to allow members to process their response to these events. Following the conversation, you'll be invited to join a safety and security task force to assess our congregation's current safety measures and create a plan to respond to threats in ways that uphold and promote our shared values. Let's take a breath. Coming up this week, the Widening the Circle of Concern work group will meet tomorrow at 3 p.m. Then the meeting time will change to 7 p.m. Monday, Central Time, effective August 7th. This week's report from the group: our work on preparing materials for annual DEI training continues. This week and next, we're giving thought to how we will lay down markers for success. Please join us by attending the weekly meeting and/or submitting your comments and suggestions via email to wcoc@oakcliffuu.org. Teamwork Tuesday, folks. There are several new indoor projects for us. Hope to see you this Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. And anyone who wants to help spiff up the campus is more than welcome. This Thursday, our Social Justice Ministry Reading Group will meet to continue with Life's Journey, Zuya, Oral Teachings from Rosebud. The group meets at 7:30 p.m. on Zoom. This is the book written by Albert Whitehat Sr., the grandfather of Stephen Silva Brave, who spoke to us earlier this summer. Next Sunday, Renee Brill will begin wrapping up the Tima Okun series, White Supremacy Culture Still Here. And the first Sunday of the month sees the return of the White Accountability Group meeting at 12:15, followed by the Worship Ministry meeting at 2 p.m. More info on all of this can be found in the weekly e-blast. If you're not receiving the e-blast, just sign up at oakcliffuu.org/e-news. Speaking of the e-blast, you'll also find another plea for help with Sunday morning coffee. If you'd like to volunteer, please contact Rita at admin@oakcliffuu.org. And speaking of volunteering, we have a new volunteer for Sunday morning announcements. You'll be seeing Bobby Blanche in this space soon. Thank you so much, Bobby. One more bit of business. We have a member birthday to celebrate. Happy birthday a few days early to Tammy Hilberry. That's it for now. I hope you have a great Sunday.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff. Here, we gather in sanctuary, where we're free to pursue our own unique and individual spiritual journeys in an atmosphere of acceptance, compassion, and celebration. We seek to build a community where what we believe is less important than how our beliefs guide and inform our participation in the world. Ours is a community that values the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. We welcome you. We have a special reading today. Hear these words from Katie Savani Gelfand. We light our chalice as a symbol of gratitude as we celebrate the abundance of our lives together. In this sanctuary, we harvest bushels of strength from one another and offer our crop with the hands of compassion and generosity. In the authentic and gentle manner of our connections, we cultivate a simple sweetness to brighten our spirits. May we be grateful for the ways we nourish and uplift each other, for it is the sharing of this hallowed time together that sustains us. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of love, compassion, and forgiveness. Que esta luz que ahora encendemos nos inspire a usar nuestros dones y poderes para sanar y no para herir, para ayudar y no para impedir, para bendecir y no para maldecir, para servirte a ti, espíritu de amor, compasión y perdón.
Your opening words for today come from Kimberly Ann Carlson, a place of belonging and caring. It is not by chance that you have arrived here today. You have been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there is a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so you began seeking a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. Welcome home and welcome to worship.
Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come again, love. Come, yet again, come.
In our community, we take time each week to share pieces of our lives with one another, our joys and our sorrows. We do this because each person in this community has value. Each person's experience matters. We share our sorrow with one another, knowing that sorrow comes into each person's life, knowing that together we offer comfort. Please share your sorrows publicly by posting them in the Zoom chat or send them to our Facebook Messenger or speak them aloud.
When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
We also share our joys with one another, knowing that joy comes into all of our lives. Where am I at? Knowing that joy calls unto joy, knowing that together our voices can rise in a chorus of celebration. Please share your joys publicly by posting them to the Zoom chat or send them to our Facebook Messenger or speak them aloud. Ours is a covenantal church, Latin for come together. Covenant means a solemn agreement or promise from the heart regarding a course of action between parties. The practice of promising to walk together is the core of our faith. Simply put, it is a guide for the behavior we expect from ourselves and each other. We are bound together by the promises we make to one another, and we recite our covenant during every worship service. Please rise in body or spirit as we recite our covenant.
Because we love one another, we honor each individual's spiritual journey. We celebrate life's abundance in service to each other, our community, and the world. We connect with each other in love, respect, and acceptance. Thus do we covenant together. And now in Spanish. Porque nos amamos uno al otro. Honoramos el viaje espiritual de cada individuo. Celebramos la abundancia de la vida en el servicio a entre sí, nuestra comunidad y el mundo. Ponemos en contacto a unos con otros en el amor, respeto y excepción. Así que hacemos pacto.
Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna. 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 Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna.
Good morning and welcome. O universal mother, Ceres famed, august goddess, the source of wealth and various named, great nurse all bounteous, blessed and divine, whose joy and peace to nourish corn is thine. Goddess of seed, fruits abundant fair, harvest and threshing are thy constant care. Who dwells in Lucina's seats retired, lovely, delightful queen by all desired. Nurse of all mortals, whose benign mind, first plowing oxen to the yoke confined, and gave to men what nature's want required, with plenteous means of bliss which all desire. And verdant flourishing in honor bright, assessor of Bacchus bearing light, rejoicing in the reaper's sickles kind, whose nature lucid, earthly, pure, we find, prolific, venerable, nurse divine. Thy daughter loving holy Proserpine, a car with dragons yoked is thine to guide, and orgies singing round thy throne to ride. Only begotten, much producing queen, all flowers are thine, and fruits of lovely green. Brilliant goddess come, with summer's rich increase, swelling and pregnant, leading smiling peace. Come with fair concord and imperial health, and join with these a needful store of wealth. This is the hymn to Ceres, the Roman name of the goddess Demeter, a goddess of the earth and the queen of the harvest. It's from the hymns of Orpheus, a collection of classical Greek poems translated in the 18th century that served as inspiration for the revival of interest in Greek and Roman mythology that was so strong in the 19th and 20th centuries. There are a number of dedications within the Orphic hymns to the heavens, to the night, to the stars, to Jupiter, and each of the major gods and goddesses from the Greco-Roman pantheons. The hymns of Orpheus are one of the few surviving religious scriptures from ancient Greece and serve as an important resource for the modern neo-pagan movement. And with Lammas only days away, the hymn to Demeter, or Ceres, felt especially relevant for today. For those not familiar with the holiday, Lammas or Lunasa, depending on which you choose, is a harvest festival, the first of the season. Based on a traditional Celtic festival, Lammas celebrates the first harvest of autumn of the wheats and grains that were and still are so crucial for society, the basis of our diets, and a key component of nutrition around the world. Lammas is about many things: of harvest, of community, of the earth. But Lammas is also about nutrition, about nourishment, not just of your body, but also of your soul. So what nourishes your soul? That was going to be my sermon. That was what my sermon was originally going to be about. And then last Sunday afternoon, the local news broke like shattered glass over the comfort that after a constant barrage of unsettling information that abounds in this world, had finally been settling back into my soul. So we had to change it up a little bit, because a purely spiritual sermon simply wasn't enough anymore. The world decided to give me a reminder. The question, what nourishes your soul, is not enough. Before we can ask ourselves that question, we must, as is often the case, take a step back, because there are so many other things to consider before purely religious matters can take precedence in our lives. In psychology, we can look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a motivational theory that places 5 core needs of humans, often arranged in a pyramid. At the base is physiological needs, such as food and shelter, followed by safety and security, which covers both health and social safety. Love and belonging and self-esteem needs come next, and only at the very top is self-actualization. Self-actualization is where humans develop their moral, creative, and ethical values. This is where spirituality happens, and it sits at the top of the pyramid, building on all the other needs as a matter of necessity. Buddhism has something similar in the concept of the 4 nutriments. According to the Buddha, all humans subsist on ahara, or nutriment, and the laws governing those are both physical and mental and spiritual aspects in our lives. The first of the 4 nutriments is, of course, edible food, or basic physical nourishment. Next is what is called sense impression, which can be roughly summed up as the physical sensations that people crave within their lives, the tastes, the scents, the sounds, the physical touch that we enjoy. Third is volitional thoughts, our ambitions, our plans, our ability to act, to build and destroy, to do and undo. Only the last nutriment, only at the last, does Buddha name consciousness, our self-realization and self-actualization, and only through understanding of the first 3 do humans achieve this consciousness. If you work with chakras, Muladhara, or the root chakra, deals with physical needs, like eating and shelter. It is the first of 7 main energy points that rise through your body, covering energies from sensual needs to willpower and purpose, love, intellectual tuition, and imagination, and only finally with the divine connection through your crown chakra at the top of your head. Energy is said to flow up and down through the body, from root to crown and crown to root, and blockages or deficiencies in any of the chakra points can prevent energy from flowing properly to the next. I could bore you with any number of other spiritual or scientific systems, but they all boil down to the same thing. One cannot properly develop spiritually. You cannot develop properly spiritually. I cannot develop properly spiritually until our basic physical and mental needs are being met. It's not that one cannot have a sense of the divine if one is lacking in resources, simply that the lack of resources will become a very real and understandable distraction. Humans, people, we are both body and soul. To act as if it were otherwise would be to deny the biological reality of our lives, and that would be just as disastrous as denying our mental and spiritual needs. This is why social outreach programs and community resources are so vital to humanity and to religion. Soup kitchens, food pantries, clothing closets, they are all sacred acts. Habitat for Humanity, programs that help the unhoused find apartments, fostering children and teens. These are all morally driven causes, rooted in deep ethical values. Because if we want people to focus on spiritual practices, if we want to be able ourselves to focus on spiritual practices and moral development, we must provide for the needs of the body, or people will be forever distracted from the needs of the soul. It's not a matter of mind over matter. It's matter and mind. You can only ignore a growling stomach for so long. At some point, if you want to survive, you need to eat. If you want your neighbors to survive, they need to eat. The body must be fed in order to comprehend the divine. The community must be fed to develop the spiritual. And this is the lesson of Lammas. As I said before, Lammas is a harvest festival, and harvests don't happen without a community. One human cannot possibly hope to plow, plant, and gather their crops all on their own. It takes a village. It takes a community to develop farmland, to raise the grains and vegetables and fruits and animals needed for a sustainable harvest, for a sustainable diet. The myth of the self-sufficient man or lone wolf is just that, a myth. We need each other. We need our community, society as a whole, to feed ourselves and each other, not just physically and mentally, but spiritually. So before we can ask ourselves what nourishes our souls, we must first ask ourselves, what is it we are doing to nourish our bodies? Are you eating healthily? Are you buying vegetables and fruits from the local farmer's market instead of processed foods from Walmart? Are you cooking for yourself instead of eating takeout all the time? Have you taken the time to make your own bread, to share a meal with your loved ones? We must ask ourselves, what are we doing to nourish our minds? When's the last time you read a book or watched a documentary? Have you tried learning a new language, studied a subject that's new to you, or even watched tutorials on YouTube if that's more your thing? Have you helped someone with their homework? I know we all have problems with Common Core. We must also ask ourselves, what are we doing to nourish our society? Are you helping in the local library, volunteering in a shelter or a soup kitchen? Are you donating to a food pantry or a clothing closet? Are you growing a garden so that people can enjoy living green plants and butterflies along with fresh vegetables? Are you going to protests and rallies, fighting for justice so that everyone can feel safe in beloved community? No matter our color or creed or orientation, we all have a part in the beautiful mosaic of life. Ask yourself, what are you doing to preserve that colorful masterpiece of creation? We must ask ourselves these questions, and more importantly, we must answer them. Only then can we ask ourselves, what are we doing to nourish our spirits? Are you painting, sculpting, or sketching so that what is in your heart has a physical place in this world? It's hard to focus if you're hungry. You cannot sketch if you don't have the money to buy materials. Where is your inspiration coming from if you have not learned what is out there in the world? Have you walked in the woods or in the labyrinth? Have you visited the sea and dipped yourself in her holy waters? Have you sung hymns from the heart? Have you read your scriptures and holy texts from poets and prophets alike? Have you spent time in prayer and meditation? Made room in your life for the divine, however you wish to call her? All of these things that we do are sacred acts, a physical prayer that we impress upon the earth. Never let yourself be told that what these small, mundane acts are, that they are anything less important than prayer. These acts are prayer. These acts are holy. We must commit to the mind, to the body, and to the spirit altogether. We must act for all of these things for ourselves and for others. And so we gather today in preparation for Holy Lammas, so that we may act as community and in communion. If you will join me, please, as we share bread. If you will join me, please, for our read and responsory. All that we are, together and individually, is part of the abundance of the universe. We are made of stars, we are made of earth. All that we have comes from the earth, from the labor of those in our communities. From cities, farms, and oceans that enliven us, the world and those who live in it. We are surrounded by blessings, by grace, and by possibilities. We are reflected in every other human being. We respect and honor another's differences. We celebrate our interbeing with abundance and the practice of generosity. Come, let us worship together. What we do for ourselves is sacred. What we do for each other is holy. And I hope that today has offered you physical nourishment. I pray that you have found comfort in this community. And I call you to reach out your spirits as we depart, a little fuller and yet a little lighter. May you be filled with both bread and loving kindness. May you know peace and the divine, however and wherever you choose to seek it. Blessed be.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease.
join me in reciting the Widening the Circle of Concern covenant. We, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff, commit ourselves to the study and dismantling of racism and oppression within our congregation. We commit our congregation and ourselves to the work of anti-racism and anti-oppression. We commit ourselves to listening, to learning, and to action. When we fail, we commit ourselves to trying again and again. We covenant to begin this work and to continue until all of us can truly say that we are a beloved community of justice, equity, and compassion. Thank you. Today's reading about nourishment is from the Reverend Aisha Ansano, who believes in the spirituality of food, the power of community, and the importance of self-care. And I chose this reading to share for a couple of reasons. One of them, because obviously the theme for the service is nourishment. But also because the way in which she relates this reflection of an experience that she had in seeking nourishment is about finding your path to nourishment, even if that looks different from other people's paths to nourishment. Nourishing Our Whole Selves by Reverend Aisha Ansano, written in 2017. She opens with this quote from Milton Brashear Cunningham's Keeping the Feast, Metaphors for the Meal. Quote, "The difference between a good meal and a great meal is time. How long we linger at the table, whether it be a special occasion or a Sunday supper of leftovers. To break our schedule as we break bread is an opening for the Spirit." Reverend Asano continues, "It had been a long week, and I was so tired. After being cooped up at work all day, my partner and I decided to take a walk to a local burger place to grab some tasty food that didn't require much work on our part. As we were getting ready to walk out the door, I realized that what I really wanted to do, more than anything, was to eat a burger and fries while I read my book. But that felt a little rude, given that I was headed to dinner with my partner, who I hadn't seen all day and who I really, really enjoy spending time with. But I also did really want to read my book. So, despite the fact that it went against all the conventions of politeness, I told him that what I really wanted to do was go out to dinner with him and then completely ignore him while I immersed myself in the novel I was reading. And because he totally gets me, he agreed. And we traipsed down to get burgers, my book in hand. I could have, of course, come home to read my book after dinner, in the quiet of my own house, on my comfy couch, under a blanket, which might sound like the perfect reading environment. But ever since I was a kid, lingering over a meal with my book has felt like a luxurious experience. There is something magical about not having to leave the table as soon as I finish eating, about prolonging the experience of the meal and just doing something indulgent. And reading while I eat is a specific pleasure for me, differing from lingering at the table in conversation. The joy of reading nourishes my soul and mind in a distinct way that feels particularly satisfying. And combining that with the physical nourishment of my body refreshes and rejuvenates my entire being. I can't tell you what I ate that night or what I read, but the feeling of sitting in the restaurant with my book has stuck around. She then offers this prayer. Spirit of life, help us to remember that our souls and minds need sustenance as much as our physical bodies. May we delight in the ways we find to provide this nourishment to our whole selves. Amen.
Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place that is so sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. Members, if you're contributing cash towards your pledge, you know the drill. Please use the envelope provided and make sure you write your name on it so you get credit for it. You can't get 100 if you don't put your name on the test. To text your donation, see the number on your order of service, or for more options, you can see oakcliffuu.org/donate.
Receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy. Receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
Our eyes and minds turn now toward the ordinary. Leaving this space made sacred by our presence, take with you at least some seed of understanding, of hope, and of courage, and drop it into the confusion of the world. Nourish the seed that it might grow as a tree of life, giving shelter to the weary and hope to the despairing. Be yourself a branch of the tree of life. Amen, and blessed be.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez.
Because we understand the different needs people have, we're going to try something new. For those who would like a few moments of solitude or meditation, please feel free to stay here in the sanctuary. For those who would like to socialize, we invite you to join the others in the lobby. Our community conversation will begin shortly in the sanctuary. Go now in peace.